Good morning, America. Welcome to my channel of Global Solutions. Today I'm going to explain to you why tax increases under President Biden will destroy America and the rest of the world. Currently, the national debt is at 28.9 trillion. That is as of October 2021. And as usual, you can hear things like budget cuts or budget deficits, the threats of government shutdowns from political leaders. As you can see around, and you look around, and you can see homelessness and poverty is rising. We have unemployment. And one of the biggest problems we're facing is infrastructure. As I said, 28.9 trillion is pegged currently at the national debt as of October. Now, my program, and listen to this very carefully, my program is designed to stop this 28.9 trillion from growing and reset it into a downward trend. That's right. You hear it. You can hear me, and you can read it from here. I will reset it into a downward trend. Let's start with this. That's by presidents, and I will only give you from Clinton. When he left the White House, see, he's a Democrat. He left us with 1.4 trillion. George W. Bush, he's a Republican. He left the White House with 5.85 trillion. Remember the September 11 terrorism in New York and the war in Afghanistan war and Iraq. And then we have Obama. He's a Democrat. He added 8.6 trillion. For the record, that's the highest ever in the entire history of the United States of America. Trump, Republican, he added 6.7 trillion. Remember COVID during his time, and after COVID, we were affected with a recession in 2020. And currently, President Biden at about 1.5 trillion or 1.84 trillion. As far as, if I remember correctly, in the entire history of the United States, I believe there were only one or two presidents who reduced the national debt, actually by, I think it was Warren Harding by 1.5 or 1.6 trillion. You will have to check that yourself. And President Calvin Coolidge, I believe he was able to reduce it by 5.3, I think. Please check those numbers. So we have to stop. If we have to fix the problems of this country, we have to stop these presidents from accruing this or increasing this beyond their control additions to the national debt, or this country is going to die. I'm going to tell you that. Currently, at 2021, by December of this year, the national debt will become 115% of the GDP. And if President Biden refuses to listen or adopt my program, by 2050, that 115% will become a 195% nightmare for the American people, because that will be a 195% of the GDP. Why will it? Why it's unstoppable by 2050? or 2 years from now, it is unstoppable because this program that I have developed will be probably available only probably the next 2 years at the most. The national security of this nation will be seriously at stake by 2050 because there will be less money for defense, law enforcement, intelligence, etc. And most importantly, the US economy will continue to grow weaker starting 2050. Right now, President Biden would like to spend $3.5 trillion on infrastructure. Take note of that. He wanted to raise corporate tax rate from 21 to 26%. Remember that. Remember that, please. And the negative effects are this. It will be difficult for American companies to compete globally. Any added taxes, regardless of the percentage, will be passed to American consumers. That's a very high school stuff. This is our high school or college stuff. We all know this, and we should not be tricked by politicians to think otherwise. Companies who receive any tax increases, they simply put it on top of the products that we will be buying. Now, who will benefit from this? The economy of China will benefit because it's very simple. China's cost of labor is very low compared to Americans. American companies will be forced to move to like China, Canada, Latin American, or other Asian countries. And that means job losses for Americans. The program that I have developed, this is fully developed, is I can offer 4 trillion on infrastructure. Not 3.5. 4 trillion at 800 billion for 5 years. Now get this. At the same time, lower corporate tax rate from 21 down to 10%. Not up, down to 10%. So we will be reducing it by 11%. And also important is there will be no tax increases for billionaires or even millionaires. Nothing. Nada. Zero. Zip. And these are the benefits. It will create jobs for Americans on infrastructure. Enable American companies to compete globally. Enable American companies to hire more Americans in America. Enable companies to lower prices of goods for American consumers and export. And most importantly, take a look at this. Reset the rising federal debt, currently at 28.9 trillion, into a downward trend. That's what makes this program very advanced and very unique. So at the same time that I'm explaining this to you, you can read it as well in big letters, not small, not small letters. By introducing government modernization program. Now, when I said 10% of corporate tax rate, I simply mean just the first 5 years. On the 6th year, it will become 5% and on permanently. America will change a lot. There will be dramatic change or improvement in the standard of American living. Now, President Biden would like to tax billionaires and spend 500 billions for climate change. And I'm going to tell you, and I wrote it too, this is a total waste of money. Not only it will hurt America and the rest of the world, simply because 500 billions will not solve climate change. It will not solve climate change in the United States or around the world. And I'll tell you why. One of my unique program, part of my global solutions is to reduce gas emissions. This report is from 2019. My global solutions has nothing to do with electricity, industry, commercial, residential, or agriculture. I have the biggest source, which is transportation. And when I say transportation, I'm referring to traffic congestions in the entire country, that 29%. I wrote this book after conducting a study of the United States from 1963. Why 1963? That was when the news about the assassination of President John F. Kennedy was announced at the elementary school I was attending somewhere in Asia. And some of my classmates cried. And I look around and I was wondering, who's President Kennedy? Where is America? I don't know that. And it's very simple. Those who cried, they have television. They have newspapers at home that they can read, or they have television where they can watch news. We don't have television at home. I'm sorry about that. But my curiosity started from then, and I started studying America. Every piece of paper or every book that I can find, every newspaper that I can put my hands on, I have to read. And I would like to learn about America. And until finally by fall of 1983, that's about 20 years later, I came to the United States to continue my study of the American culture, the government, law enforcement, court system, prison systems, and the problems, social problems. What else? Violence on the street, gun violence, gangs, homelessness, particularly homelessness. I became so proficient on this, and I was able to develop extremely unique solutions. And those solutions are in this book, The Ultimate Solution to Climate Change. This solution is applicable to the United States, Canada, European countries like Germany, you name it, or including Philippines or Australia, and many others. Traffic congestion in the United States. This is, say, everything that's red is bad for America. This is from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration report. 305 billion in traffic congestion. You know, when the Americans are going to work, they're sitting in traffic in the morning. They'll be sitting in the traffic in the evening when they go home. And 87 billion loss in productivity, 871 billion on traffic fatalities. Now, take note, this is only in 2010. In 2011, 12, 13, every year, there is the NHTSA is providing the report. Now, I pick 2016 because that's one of the highest. I think that was 40,000 in 2016. In 2010, that's 32,299 lives were lost. Also in 2010, 3.9 million injured Americans on traffic accidents alone, and 24 millions of vehicles were damaged also in 2010. Now, take a look at that 2016 traffic fatalities of 40,000. I put that 1.3 trillion. That's my personal um, estimate. That is not an official report from the NHTSA or the Department of Traffic and Safety Administration. The Department of Traffic Administration, I believe. Or, yes, that's correct. This is what's in my book. My book explained how to reverse all of this. Look at that 1.3 trillion. We can reverse that. I can reverse that in the United States, in Australia, in the Philippines, in Canada, in Europe, or everywhere else. Now, when we fix traffic congestion in America, it doesn't mean anything. We need to reduce gas emissions around the world. And this is the biggest part of that. Carbon dioxide at 65%. That's global. Just like what I said, my program can reverse or fix traffic congestions anywhere in the world. That's true, anywhere in the world, but take note. Take note. In my book, I believe I said I can provide Australia 80% reduction, between 60 to 80%. In the United States, exactly the same thing, 60 to 80%. In the Philippines, I can only provide up to 20%. But what's unique about Philippines is they can eliminate prison population up to 100% within 2 years. Now, Vision Zero. I believe Vision Zero was started by Sweden, by the Swedish government. The objective was to reduce fatal crashes, and they're good about that. Sweden is very good. They have a rating of 45% plus. Now, take a look at New York. In 2017, after spending 160 million, they will able to reduce or save 22 lives. Imagine that. 160 million and you save 22 lives. Not happy with that. They would like to increase it by up to $1.6 billion. Crazy. Los Angeles, a copycat. Since 2015, fatal crashes have risen 36% instead of reducing it. That's after spending $100 million. That's one thing about politicians. They simply think that they can raise taxes and put it on a program and believe that it is solving the problem. No, it's not. This is a very good proof. Now, Los Angeles again raised taxes to fix homelessness. Guess what? Homelessness went up. So the next 5 years, the mayor of Los Angeles wanted to spend $1 billion for 5 years, the next 5 years, from 2021 and on. And I'm going to tell you now, homelessness will keep on going up, regardless of the amount of money you spend. Regardless. You can double that 1 billion or triple it. Homelessness will keep on growing. They cannot fix that. It is not about money. It is not about the money. It's about the strategy, the analysis, and I have both of those. And they can only do that by adopting my prevention system to improve that, or homelessness will forever rise or grow in America. And my system I don't need to use taxpayers' money. Look below that. Now, global problems, just like what I said. My traffic congestion solution is applicable to Australia, 3.5 billion in 2017. Also homelessness, 102 to 116,000 from 2011 to 2016. And get this, including domestic violence, a $22 billion problem in 2015. And they said that if they cannot fix it, it will become a 323 Australian dollars billions by 2044 and 2045. And here's what I'm going to tell you. If they cannot fix that in 2015 or 2016 or 17 or 18 and whatever, they will never be able to fix that in 2044 or 2045 simply because they do not have my prevention system. Same thing in the United Kingdom or including London. Traffic jams, 8 billion British pounds in 2018. Their prison is going up. Knife crime, they ask in 2019, can London's knife crime be stopped? No, you cannot. Why? This explanation is very simple. London or any part of the United Kingdom policing system is exactly the same as what we have in the United States of America or Australia or anywhere else around the world, with just a very few exceptions. Now, the positive and productive effects to the world. You will now know what to do to protect the present and future generations, your children, grandchildren, and to train and educate current and future leaders with my global solutions. You will now know what to think when there are shootings in communities and schools. Terrorism cannot be prevented without my prevention system, which cost America 5.8 trillion in Afghanistan. And we all know now, America and allies were defeated by the Taliban. I can explain that too, but not today. That will be covered by another presentation. Just like I said, climate change cannot be solved without conversion. What is conversion? And government modernization program. And political leaders are only good at one, raising taxes to solve problems. And we all know it's not working. Or they will implement budget cuts. Or combine the two, a little bit of raising taxes and a little bit of budget cuts. Now, part of my prevention system is to prevent gun violence. Gun violence in the United States is at least around $280 billion. And somewhere around in the figure of 38,000 deaths from gun violence alone. Prison population, we will be able to reverse prison population. And we all know America is number one in the world with the highest prison population. When we do that, we will be able to increase funding for the education of Americans. All of these benefits without raising taxes. Now, take a look at this. In 2020, I think it was Speaker Pelosi who provided the 25 million. I don't know who received the 25 million to research on gun violence, how to prevent gun violence. And I'm going to tell you now, they will never find the solution or the strategy or the program. How many nonprofit organizations are soliciting millions of dollars to research gun violence since 1980s? I think you should Google this and I think you'll find out. Millions. Now, during Obama and Biden's time at the White House, I wrote and published a book and gave the White House copies. Unfortunately, Obama kept on talking gun control regardless of my book, regardless of my prevention system. And he kept talking about 20th century policing reform bill, which we all know, went nowhere. And now you look at Chicago's gun violence. We all know that Obama came from Chicago. Then he became president of the United States for 8 years. And for that 8 years, all he did is talk about gun control. And he's gone out of the White House, and he's now a multimillionaire living somewhere close to Martha's Vineyard. He's got a big mansion there. And as we look at Chicago's gun violence, it's gone worse than before. So where's Obama? Nowhere, enjoying his millions. This is the prevention system that I'm telling you about. The prevention system is designed to convert the policing system from response to prevention system. This will cover not gun control. This will cover all gun violence, all violent crimes, including terrorism. And this is available at Amazon. I think all you need to do is buy this. I think the price is around 20 or 25, not millions. And this is my guarantees. These are my guarantees. You will never find any other individual or team from any private or government institutions, including law enforcement, military, and intelligence agencies, that can defeat my analysis, strategies, solutions, and programs. These solutions or programs cannot be developed by anyone else. And of course, this is just, I believe, about half an hour of presentation. But for those corporations who would like to request a full day presentation, 1 day or 2 days, depending on the number of attendees or participants, let me know. But or otherwise, of course, feel free to pay the additional taxes that Biden would like to impose on all of you. Keep in mind that this is a one-time chance only to reverse all, no exception, all of these serious national and global problems for humanity, economy, and environment. Thank you, and may God bless America. Goodbye.